Insane predictions from the Boondocks that came true. Boondocks is brilliant, funny, and remarkably insightful when it comes to depicting politics and problems within the Black community.
Obama, of course, is as polarizing as he is transformative. Some have accused Obama of being a socialist. Others believe that he's a Muslim. Some have gone as far as to label him the Antichrist.
It's insane how the Boondocks have predicted things without trying too hard, from things like celebrity drama to the coronavirus. Honestly, it may as well be on the same level as The Simpsons and Family Guy. One thing is for sure. The Boondocks showed us many events that happened in real life and none of us saw them coming. We are starting off this list with number 1, Usher and Keke Palmer. It's funny how the Boondocks saw this one coming. Usher has always been a charmer. He has a pretty good track record of breaking up relationships. But one of his recent dramas went viral when he shared a moment with Keke Palmer. She melted instantly. The pair danced together at one of his residency concerts in Las Vegas. Mind you, Palmer already has a baby with Darius Jackson. When the video got posted on social media, her baby daddy publicly criticized her for the outfit she was wearing. He commented, "It's the outfit though, you a mom." In February, Palmer gave birth to their son Leo. The two posted their journey on Instagram for the world to see. So it makes sense that Jackson would be hurt by the whole thing. Who wouldn't? But Jackson received a lot of backlash for the way he reacted. Fans said that Palmer was always dressing like that and acting like that, so this wasn't new to her. Besides, they are celebrities, and in the entertainment industry, they always support one another. It's all part of the show. The fans explained that Keke was allowed to go out and wear whatever she wanted and get serenaded by Usher without being publicly shamed. He could have kept his opinions private instead of letting the whole world know. They said he had no respect for the woman's autonomy, claiming that Jackson shamed his baby mama in a bitter attempt to try and control her, mainly because he wasn't mad about that dress, but the chemistry the two shared. But Jackson didn't back down. In a follow-up tweet, which was deleted later, he posted, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case." After the drama blew up, Palmer decided to tell her side of the story. She explained how being a mother changed everything about the way she viewed herself and her body. She said that before she gave birth, she was extremely self-conscious. After that, she was a lot more confident in her own skin and felt more powerful than ever before. Well, the Boondocks predicted it before it was popular. The funny thing is, the Usher story actually happened to one of the producers on the show. His name is Carl Jones. He and his wife at the time went to celebrate season 2. Some of the other members of the Boondocks crew were also there, including Aaron and his girlfriend. They all went out to grab something to eat at a fancy restaurant. Everything was going well until they started talking about the R. Kelly episode. Jones' wife at the time wasn't happy with it, didn't like it at all. So he said she was in a bad mood the whole time they were there. That's until Usher came inside the restaurant and sat down behind them. Her whole mood changed. Suddenly, she started eating the food, loving the energy, and having a fabulous time. She did everything she could to get his attention. She even went to his table and started introducing everyone from the crew. She failed to mention that she was married, of course. Well, Usher still has his way with the ladies, but Boondocks predicted a lot more than that. Coming up next is number 2, the chicken addiction turning deadly.
Chicken? You mean I ain't gonna be able to get that bucket?
How can they be out of chicken? It's Colonel's Fried Chicken!
This is outrageous. This is an outrage.
Hello, 911.
Damn! Oh, chicken! That is so cool!
Get your back!
In the Boondocks episode, The Fried Chicken Flu from season 3, we can see many people losing their minds over fried chicken. Everyone wants to try the latest KFC special, a type of chicken with 13 spices. Granddad, Robert, and Riley go to the KFC to try the chicken. They wait hours in line only to find out that the place has run out of chicken. This causes a complete mayhem. Riley calls 911, people are screaming, and a man takes his car and drives straight into the windows. The employees run for their lives. Back home, Huey watches the news and learns that there are violent outrages over the chicken shortage everywhere in the country. People are furious with the long waiting lines, and they start fighting each other over who would get the next piece of chicken. There is something in the meat that keeps people addicted. This episode looks outrageous until you see this.
They say 28-year-old Kevin Tyrell Davis began cutting people who were standing in line specifically to get the popular Popeyes chicken sandwich. Police say the two men started arguing. The fight spills out into the parking lot where Davis was stabbed once. He was rushed to the hospital but died less than an hour later, according to police.
Rico McLean stabbed someone to death over a chicken sandwich. He was found guilty of second-degree murder for stabbing 27-year-old Kevin Davis back in 2019. They started arguing at first, which then spiraled out of control, and Davis ended up dead. The whole fight lasted for around 15 seconds. It's interesting how the Boondocks were able to predict this incident. Even though years have passed since the Boondocks premiered, things like these are important today. Remember that time when KFC faced a chicken crisis? In 2018, KFC stores in the UK and Ireland ran out of chicken because their new delivery company failed to deliver it on time.
It is a humiliating sight for one of the country's biggest food brands. In city after city, a second day of shuttered stores running short of their vital ingredient.
But there is a lot more where that came from. In the middle of the pandemic, Taco Bell was also running short on key ingredients, such as chicken, beef, tortillas, and hot sauce. This made the food item list super short, and the customers weren't happy about it, to say the least. In 2021, Buffalo Wild Wings were facing a similar crisis. They had problems keeping up their chicken meals in stock. The company stated that they were facing a serious chicken shortage. Can you see a pattern here? We sure can. Well, Aaron's prophetic capabilities didn't end here. This series also predicted, number 3, COVID. That same episode with the fried chicken also predicted the pandemic. This episode was released in August 2010. That's 10 years before the pandemic hit. Check this out.
And now, another crisis brewing, this one around a mysterious virus that seems to have appeared out of thin air and is spreading like wildfire. Already, there are 400 confirmed cases of the mystery virus in all 50 states, and the CDC warns it could spread to hundreds of thousands by the end of the week.
Huey claims that the chicken was the source of the virus. Suddenly, Robert and Huey hear Jasmine and Tom knocking on the door. They let them inside when Tom claims he didn't eat any chicken. Everyone is horrified because the world is ending. Tom lets Jasmine know she should stay at the Freeman house and survive. When the news is back on TV, it turns out that the fried chicken caused the virus. So people end up calling it the fried chicken flu. Even though many people got infected, they still go back to KFC to buy more chicken. Riots are everywhere. President Obama makes a speech and explains that he and his family are somewhere safe down underground while the rest of society has to deal with the flu. He says people should put their differences aside and band together since it is impossible to cure the flu. This goes to show how predictable our government is. They can drop the ball on most events and leave the people to deal with the consequences. The episode continues with the outbreak, and another news report explains that at least 3,300,000 people are estimated to die. There is also a high chance that the virus is going to spread to other restaurants that sell chicken. Then the survival game begins. The kids need to figure out how to take care of their rations and feed everyone who is staying at the house. Later, Huey names all the symptoms of the flu, and in some of them, we can see a striking resemblance to COVID. These include high body temperature, huge stomach pain, extreme sweating, headaches, large amounts of snot and mucus, loss of balance, and projectile vomiting. People get quarantined and we see Huey wearing a hazmat suit. At the end of the episode, the news pops back up, and it turns out that the whole situation was exaggerated. No one died from what people call the fried chicken flu. What they were actually dealing with was a mild salmonella outbreak. They all survive but end up drained and exhausted. If this is not convincing enough, We also have the number 4, the White House protests.
And Congress are receiving an unprecedented amount of calls from irate African Americans.
And the revolution finally came.
The mob is refusing to disrupt.
The president is urging everyone to stay calm and obey the curfew.
You're horrible! We repeat.
It would seem somewhat predictable and obvious that Black Lives Matter movements would protest right next to the White House. But if you take a closer look at the Return of the King episode, which aired in 2006, you can see a perfect symmetry. These are images taken from recent protests. And when you take a moment to see the details, you can notice something else. These scenes look absolutely the same as the ones in the Boondocks episode. From the tear gas to the mayhem, everything is exactly the same. It's just mind-blowing. As you can see, Aaron believed that the protests, like the ones over George Floyd's death, would bring about the revolution, and he was correct. He also saw that the Black community wouldn't go down easy, and he was right about that too. It's just strange how so much time has passed, yet we see little changes when it comes to matters of racism and inequality. But there is also something else in that exact episode that you probably didn't notice. When people started protesting in Boondocks, NBA players said they would refuse to play until the government pulled the army away from Afghanistan. A couple of years ago, a similar thing happened. NBA stars decided to boycott their games after Jacob Blake was shot by the police. LeBron James voted to stop the season so that everyone could focus on what really mattered, and that was to spread awareness about the shooting of another Black man. It was a peaceful protest, but it captured worldwide attention. The NBA demanded the officers take accountability and responsibility for their actions. Kenny Smith, a commentator for the NBA on TNT, also walked off the stage to show his support for the players and the entire Black Lives Matter movement. It was truly a moment to remember. Well, the Boondocks had more surprises than many of us actually expected. One of them was the number 5, R. Kelly trial.
Hey there, Huey. Riley. I couldn't help but notice your sign, and I hope you boys aren't too upset about me having to prosecute Mr. Kelly.
Hey, man, you do what you gotta do.
Why R. Kelly, huh? What did R. Kelly do to you?
The trial of Robert Kelly aired on November 13th, 2005. It was the second episode of the first season. What's crazy is how it almost perfectly depicted what would happen in the actual trial in 2008. The episode starts with Riley, Granddad, and Huey watching TV. The latest thing on the news is R. Kelly's trial, who seems to be facing a lot of charges. One of them revolves around the fact that he recorded himself urinating on an underage victim. Later, at the courthouse, we can see two types of protesters: those who are against the exploitation of the 14-year-old girl, and another crowd who seems to be grilling barbecues and listening to R. Kelly's latest hits. They demand that the celebrity be set free. In an interview with one of the supporters, the reporter asks a woman who is eating barbecue why she thinks R. Kelly is innocent. The woman licks her fingers and says, "'Cause he's good." At the actual trial, the singer pleaded not guilty to counts of forced labor, kidnapping, racketeering, and sexual exploitation of a minor. The indictment included a bunch of different incidents across 4 states: California, Connecticut, Illinois, and New York. Exactly 3 out of 5 of these cases included a minor. Kelly didn't get bail, but the fans across the nation came to show their support. Some wore custom t-shirts and others wore crowns in honor of the so-called King of R&B. We could see 50-year-old women wearing bedazzled shirts with the words "Justice" or "Unmute R. Kelly" written on them. Another one of the supporters told the news that if she got the chance to sleep with Kelly when she was much younger, she would gladly do so. She said that the singer is a good-looking man and has excellent sex appeal. This doesn't make him guilty. What's interesting is the fact that these supporters mirror the ones from the Boondocks episode, the way the crowd acts, thinks, and expresses themselves. But was it really a prediction? Or did Aaron know what was going on behind the scenes? You see, R. Kelly faced many lawsuits throughout the 90s and 2000s. In 2002, he was charged with 21 counts of child. but was found not guilty on all counts 6 years later. But the lawsuits and charges kept on coming. More and more people started coming out and sharing their stories. This is why we know so much about him, especially about the sex scandals. Many news articles were written about it, and it had massive media attention. Eventually, he got a 20-year prison sentence for child pornography charges in a federal court in Chicago. But 19 years of this new sentence will be served at the same time as a previous 30-year sentence he received for other charges. So in other words, he will spend a total of 30 years in prison. Then we got number 6, the chair throw. Now here is something you don't see every day. The Boondocks were onto something with this one. In episode 4, season 1, we can see Riley throwing a folding chair. But this is not some random incident. Throwing that chair causes a massive riot that's a spitting image of the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl. The episode was released in 2005, while the Alabama Brawl happened on August 5th, 2023. The real-life incident started when a worker was trying to do his job. He was supposed to clear the dock so that the Harriet II riverboat could dock. A couple of white boaters didn't want to get their pontoon out of the way, so they beat up the dock worker, who is black. Everything spiraled out of control after that. Other black people who happened to be nearby rushed to defend the worker. One of them swam all the way to the other side. People called him the Black Aquaman. In the middle of all that mess, a guy takes a chair and starts beating the white people. This exact folding chair became the symbol of resistance. It indicates the racial tensions that still exist in Alabama. Reggie Ray, the man who used the chair as a weapon, became a viral sensation. Millions of people saw the fight online, and the whole thing sparked a ton of jokes and memes. Now, to understand its impact, we need to take a look at the history of Montgomery. This is the exact same place where Rosa Parks made history and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made a name for himself. He was chosen to be the head of the Montgomery Improvement Association. But that's not all. Montgomery is also the place where freedom riders traveled by bus across the South and got attacked by a mob at the Greyhound station. They set the buses on fire, forcing the freedom riders to run for their lives. Then there was the Selma to Montgomery March. Dr. King led over 2,000 people, both white and black, across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. But he soon figured out that state troopers blocked Highway 80. King stopped the group of people and led them in a prayer. When the law enforcement officers saw that the marchers were not a threat, they moved out of the way and allowed them to continue. The city is also the home to a lynching museum. So the brawl itself told us a lot about the state of the country as a whole. It proves that actions have consequences, and something as simple as a folding chair can become a huge symbol. The last prediction on this list is the number 7 Gangstalicious episode. There are plenty of rappers who voice characters in the series, but no one has managed to make such a profound impact as Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def. He played Gangstalicious, Riley's favorite rapper. In season 2, episode 13, Riley has an identity crisis when he finds out that Gangstalicious might be gay. People are starting to question the rapper's clothing line, which Riley proudly wears. One of those things is the shorts with a flap on them that makes them look like a skirt. Riley also wears a white tank top that looks more like a bra and a shoulder bag which looks exactly like a purse. When Granddad sees the outfit, he freaks out. He is terrified that Riley might be gay. In the 90s and early 2000s, the rap and hip-hop industry was incredibly hostile toward gay men. This was mainly a reflection of cultural attitudes and prison life. Today, it's a different story because the entire culture and the audience have completely changed. They have different attitudes. But back then, the mainstream hip-hop and rap industry was a hyper-masculine business. In the Boondocks episode, shots are fired in every direction. Tolerant liberals and homophobes both take a hit. Is there a chance that Aaron is trying to expose someone specific? Maybe not exactly about them being gay, but about their fashion choice. Well, it turns out that Kanye West wore a particular outfit at the 12-12-12 concert. It was a big skirt. The fans either loved it or hated it. Diddy wore it, and Wiz Khalifa too. It seems that more and more rappers have decided to step outside the box and wear something a lot more eccentric than they did years ago. Their fashion choice made headlines, and celebrities received a lot of hate. But among the younger generation, the kilt movement quickly spread on social media, and some decided to try it out for themselves. But this trend was short-lived. Still, the Boondocks was the first one to see it coming. What do you guys think about these predictions? Do you believe the Boondocks was right every single time? Or is there something else that we are missing? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thank you for watching and see you next time.